where the real ones fight, not foreign code. Beyond the junkyard, no script, no mercy, leave your mark. Beyond the junkyard, where the real ones fight, not foreign code. Beyond the junkyard, no script, no mercy, leave your mark. Beyond the junkyard, 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 beyond the junkyard.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Beyond the Junkyard podcast. I am your host, Junkyard James. And it looks like last minute TNA pulled my co-host from the show. No. In reality, my guy, Cody Marinara, he's here somewhere. How you doing, my friend?
Bringing the sauce like usual, my friend. We are starting the show off as saucy as we can make it. And that's just a prelude for what is to come on this wonderful, lovely Thursday evening. I hope everybody's having a miserable night, especially Carlos Silva and those in the TNA brass. You will be eviscerated here shortly. But no, we're doing fine. I'm sick and tired of warm, cold, cold, warm, warm, cold, cold, warm. Eventually we'll get to warm and probably will stay there until Satan's testicles fall off in November. But we'll get there. How are you doing, sir?
And man, let me tell you, it seems like every night I have to turn the AC down just a little bit, turn the fan up just a little bit because I'm burning up in bed. And then I'll wake up in the middle of the night because for some reason the winter just doesn't want to go away. And I'm literally grabbing a second blanket because it's so cold in the middle of the night. It makes no sense. Make up your mind. Do you want to be hot or do you want to be cold?
I guess it likes Katy Perry.
Maybe so. But no, it's a good week. It's a pay-per-view week for AEW. By the way, if you want to, I don't want to say scam the system. Get you a NordVPN. Get you myaew.com. You can get Dynasty included in that subscription. That's how I'm going to watch it. Otherwise, you can watch it on Fubo, traditional cable outlets. I'm doing the promo for them. Amazon, HBO Max. You can watch AEW Dynasty this Sunday night. But before we get to our predictions on AEW Dynasty, we got some other things to talk about. But before we get to that, I want to talk to you about our awesome sponsor. That's Dubby Energy, your taste buds' favorite energy drink. Use the code Beyond the Yard at dubby.gg and you can save 10% on your order of Dubby Energy. Let me tell you, they're coming out with some really intriguing flavors. Cherry limeade just got released. They pulled a sour gummy bear, I think. So, I mean, some really interesting flavors there. Go ahead, use our code, save 10% on your order, help support us. My favorite is the one I keep on my desk, and I'll show it to you. This is Tiger's Blood. And I use this every time I record a podcast and need an energy drink. And so let's jump into the show. Let's bring that sauce. The first thing we're going to talk about today is our Mid Card Meltdown. Mr. Sauce Guy, Mr. Montanaro, Mr. Marinara, whatever. You go by many names. Was there outside of TNA, because we're gonna separate that into its own category here in just a minute. Outside of TNA, was there anything else in the pro wrestling world that grinded your gears this weekend or this week?
Carlos Silva. Um, um,
Pretty much.
yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, not really. I think the only other thing would be actually, you know what? Yeah, I have something that kind of slightly grinded my gears a little bit. Is it me, or has this year's WrestleMania build been just so damn bad?
Is it a WrestleMania build, or is it a build for Great Balls of Fire 2016?
I mean, at least I knew at least a couple things I was kind of looking forward to with that event. Not much, but yeah, this has just been not good. And the cherry on the top is let's announce. Question two of them. Let's put a couple matches on hour one of ESPN, and then on night one, I think you're getting 4 or 5 matches on ESPN Unlimited Plus, whatever you want to call it. Night two, we're only getting 3 or 4 matches on the rest of the show, which to me is like, okay, you want me to pay $40 for 4 matches? No. Secondly, we're going to bring back one of the more entertaining, interesting characters. We're not going to announce it. I believe they didn't announce it in the middle of the arena. Well, pop. I'm not going to say that we should have waited until WrestleMania to hear the pop because I feel like you do need to sell tickets before the show, so that's understandable. But we announced it on social media.
You're referencing the Demon Finn Balor?
Yeah. We're going to announce it on social media. Really? Okay. All right. I hope it works out for you. I mean, we're literally throwing every damn thing we can think of at this point to hope that we get 50,000 people for each night. I still don't think it's going to happen. If it happens for one night, I'll be a little more shocked. Right. But yeah, it's just an abysmal way to build WrestleMania, the biggest shows of the year, and we're resorting to John Cena within the last week, the Demon Finn Balor, a couple matches on ESPN, just so we can draw people to watch it on ESPN to pop a little bit of a rating, and then ask people to spend $40 to watch 3 to 4, maybe 5 matches, depending on the day, for a paywall where they're going to watch maybe 35, 45 minutes of wrestling and 30, 40 minutes of ads. Yeah. This has been bad. This has been bad.
Yeah. I think what grinded my gears kind of coincides with your topic here. Why in the hell are we bringing out Pat McAfee to as CM Punk?
How did I forget that? I don't know how I did. I don't know how in the world that went right over my head.
So yeah, I don't get it. One, look, Pat McAfee can come back. That's fine. But to put him involved in the storyline for your Saturday night's main event. And the reason we know it's Saturday night's main event is they've already released what matches are going to be on each night. They did that on ESPN with Joe Tessitore earlier this week on ESPN. We know what matches we're getting on each night. And I think, again, that's just another tool that they're trying to use to get people to buy. Like, hey, if you want to, you know, some people have the sticker shock of buying both nights of WrestleMania. So we'll go with night 1 or we'll go with night 2. And some people typically pick a night based off what match they really want to see the most. And I get that. That's totally an understandable thing as a fan to do. And I think that's WWE's way of saying, we got to get tickets. Let's tell people what night to their favorite match of the show is going to be on. Their way they can buy that night's ticket. I don't think they're going to sell out, but they're going to call it a sellout. They're going to find some way, like we talked about last week, to manipulate the numbers a little bit. I'm cool with, I'm okay. I don't think Pat McAfee is necessarily needed. Randy Orton does not need to have a mouthpiece. I think he talks Pat McAfee. And so it's just a weird combination. And then we add the biggest piece. It almost feels like we're going back to WCW times, because Ari Emanuel, a guy who has his job description has nothing to do with booking creative, puts his man Pat McAfee in this card on this segment. I don't like it. And then I don't know if WWE was like, hey, Triple H or somebody was, they have that internal beef with Ari because of him shoehorning everything in, but they had Punk go out on Monday night and cut a promo on Pat McAfee when he's not even fighting Pat McAfee. 2 weeks in front before your biggest show of the year, when maybe, and I know part of his pipe bomb was he went after Roman a little bit, but the clip that everybody notices is him going after Pat McAfee and him calling him Pat McAfee and all of that bullcrap. Why is he going after Pat? Is he not supposed to be telling us why we should buy WrestleMania? It doesn't make any sense. Hey, what's up, Wavy D in the chat? What's up? We always know CM Punk is the voice of the voiceless, I guess. But
what
it's
exactly
just,
is the voiceless anymore?
right. I mean,
cat ladies. I mean,
all CM Punk is doing is regurgitating Twitter topics, what the IWC says. For people, like, oh, the IWC so bad, he's just regurgitating their topics. I don't like it. I don't understand it. If this could have been something they did the night after WrestleMania, the Monday after WrestleMania, to lead to Punk in a feud with something else. This felt like it was a one-off shoot to get back at Ari Emanuel in some way. I don't like it. I don't like how it's being introduced so close to the pay-per-view. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Punk, listen, you can have whatever you want to feel about the Pat McAfee situation, both performance-wise, character-wise, internet-wise, personally, professionally, whatever the case may be. But you're there to sell the biggest show of the year. And while, yes, he did talk about Roman, and we finally got to that point, focus on that. We don't need to focus on Pat McAfee. That is a completely different storyline to begin with. Right. It has nothing to do with him. You can feel a certain way. Post that shit on X. Make a video of it. Make a short. I don't care. Focus on your feud and your storyline. That's right. That's on a different show for a different title between two different guys. Ain't got nothing to do with you.
Yep.
Why bring that up?
Right.
And like you said, I mean, hell, you could bring that up Raw after Mania if you really wanted to. I mean, I just don't understand. First of all, Pat McAfee is not going to be selling tickets to WrestleMania. Well, let's just go ahead and get that out of the way.
Absolutely.
I don't know if he's worse than Travis Scott. He might be on the same breath. I don't know. But, I mean, so add that to the list. We've got an unannounced or a badly announced Demon pop or Demon announcement for WrestleMania. John Cena is the host of WrestleMania. Pat McAfee and his craziness on SmackDown. The whole ticket price shenanigans. This has all happened within the last 2.5 weeks. within 2 weeks before we get to WrestleMania. Just an absolute complete cluster from a storytelling aspect, from a branding aspect, from a marketing aspect. Just the entire build this year has felt so off, so odd, so weird. This honestly has just been one of the times this year where I am just not interested. I'm just not drawn into WrestleMania. I'm sure I'll watch a little bit of it, but it's like, that's because I'm a diehard wrestling fan. I'm going to watch it, but it's not because it could have been just for the aspect of it's WrestleMania. I got to watch it. I don't even have that feeling.
Right.
I don't really have a great, besides the fact that maybe a little bit of, it's WrestleMania, I got to watch it. That might be it. I mean, I like to see Roman and Punk. I don't want to pay $40 for it, so I need to find another way to watch that. I just the whole last 3 weeks, it's just been so weird surrounding the WWE and leading into WrestleMania. I don't know. It's just weird.
You want to know how you can watch WrestleMania without paying $40? I'm gonna tell you a secret here.
Well, I've been doing the last 2 months with. That's a good point too.
You got Netflix?
Yeah, do the VPN.
You got a VPN?
Yeah.
Say, put yourself in Paris, France for the evening.
Guess I'm gonna be doing that for Dynasty Sunday and WrestleMania next weekend.
Yep. All right, let's go to this TNA story real quick, because I feel like this might take a little bit of time to talk about. Oh boy, where do we start? A report came out. I can't remember. A couple days ago, maybe it was just yesterday. It feels like this happened pretty quickly. That the first match that was canceled, I think, was Ricochet and Leon Slater at WrestleCon next weekend. They canceled it a week in advance. And then... and
if I'm not mistaken, that show was a like a memorial show, tribute show, something to that regard. Or maybe that was the next one. There is a tribute or memorial show happening as well. So just throw that into the mix as well.
That I am not sure. Then the next match was there were reports of an MJF match being canceled. Plans were for him to wrestle, I think, at GCW between it's MJF and Bear Bronson. That was nixed by TNA. Then obviously the Nick Nemeth versus MJF match for, I think it was for the AEW title, if I remember
that
correctly.
I don't know.
That match was canceled and replaced with now it's Nick Nemeth versus Bear Bronson, and I think MJF is going to have an open challenge at that show, and it will be a non-TNA talent that will wrestle MJF that night, if I am caught up to date. Well, MJF, before we explode on Carlos Silva, MJF had some choice words about the situation. I think it was this morning on that one show that I don't watch anymore because Bully Ray's on it. I can't remember what it's named right now. Anyway, let's let MJF talk real quick.
I would actually like to speak on young talent a little bit. Let's talk about TNA and the fact that they are pulling young talent off of shows when they're barely paying them any money whatsoever and telling them, hey, you can't wrestle because there's a guy from another promotion that's wrestling on this show. Does that help young talent grow? Does that help young talent become better inside the squared circle? Moreover, does that help young talent put food on their plate and on their table so they can eat? What Carlos Silva is doing is disgusting, and if anybody supports him or that company at this point, it is very hard for me to wrap my head around. Now, let's also talk about the fact that Nick Nemeth is completely terrified of me And all of this, in my opinion, is just some blatant, weird conspiracy and excuse, because he knows if he gets inside that squared circle with me, he's done for.
So knowing MJF being the wonderful man of keeping it in character, kept it kayfabe and tried to blame Nick Nemeth for it. I like that. The system that we use to record this podcast has some new features. So I'm going to test this new feature. We're going to run a poll here before we talk about it. And I'll end the poll once the segment is over. Is TNA in the wrong? Go ahead. I think you vote on YouTube. If you're watching on the YouTube platform, go ahead and vote there. Is TNA in the wrong for what they're doing? I'm gonna let you go first, my friend. Are they in the wrong here?
Yeah, I mean, and to clear it up, so the match between Leon Slater and Ricochet happening this week at WrestleCon, it's labeled as WrestleCon's Mark Hitchcock Memorial Super Show. So they pulled a talent from a memorial show. Think about that. In 2000, when Owen Hart passed away, there were ECW, WWF, and WCW talent that went together and basically had a super show in memorial for Owen Hart. Nobody batted an eye. People that wanted to go and do something, it was the right thing to do. All promoters and owners and presidents signed off on it, said do it. It's the right thing to do.
Right.
The fact we can't even do that for a independent wrestling show, for a memorial show, is absolutely asinine. Now, yes, I understand that if you are signed under a contract to a promotion, that you are under their rules or guidelines, and at any time, I'm sure they can change them, and I'm sure there's a clause in the contract that says you may be eligible to participate in independent promotions and work outside of our company with our approval. That could change at any time. I'm sure there's something written in those contracts, or else to be definitely a breach of contract. My perspective on that is sure. However, what benefits come from signing with a promotion? TNA, WWE, and I'm going to go ahead and throw AEW in there as well. Do they get a 401k plan? Do they get any sort of benefits, whether it is health insurance, dental, vision, anything like that? If the answer is no to all of those questions, then exactly what does the contract institute of you being a solely confined individual to work for that promotion? Because, in my opinion, while you may have signed on the dotted line that I work for this company, what exact benefits do you reap from that besides a compensation? And again, I'm sure there's a clause in those contracts that wrestlers sign that say, with our permission, you may perform outside of here, and if we change this policy at any time, you're under the assumption this could happen. But in TNA's case, you are going down a dangerous slope, because if you pull these talents from these shows, okay, well, now you're putting a bad taste in probably the performer's eyes, because that means now they're missing out on a payday. Now you're basically putting bad taste in the promoters' mouths. So if they were to promote anything in the future, using you guys, pushing your guys over, probably marketing your talent, marketing your product, now that's off the table. And who's to say that WWE can just anytime pull out the carpet from TNA and now TNA is back on its own? And if that's the case, probably there goes a TV deal. Probably there goes working with other promoters, bigger promoters, to get talent over so talent can get more money, get more exposure, and training, more ring time. Yeah. So, and if this is all coming from Papa TKO, shame on them too. But as far as I believe, it's probably not. It may be. But regardless, for the fact that I think it's absolutely ridiculous that We are less than a week away from some of these matches happening, and magically we want to pull things out of it. Now, here's another thing I want to bring up too, is that what was it, January, maybe February, possibly? There was a match between Jody Threat, I believe, and Mercedes Moné at Winnipeg Pro Wrestling for the Women's Championship, and Mercedes had it. Jody won it. Mercedes lost the belt. That's a contracted AEW wrestler facing a TNA contracted wrestler, and the TNA contracted wrestler went over on the AEW talent, which leads me to believe that more than likely Ricochet was going to go over on Leon Slater. More than likely, has to be more than likely, MJF was probably going to go over Nick Nemeth, or there was going to be some sort of disqualification.
Right.
Which also leads to imply that, hey, if TNA's stars don't get the push, why should they do business? Which looks even worse because an AEW talent lost. And Tony Khan still signed off, had no problem with it. So how does that make you look, Carlos? You piece of shit.
Yeah, it's a really strange situation, I guess, is how I would say it. Because from what I've read, and listen, you can believe the dirt sheets on this if you want. But from what I understand of this, Carlos Silva was upset that an episode of Collision got moved a couple weeks ago from Saturday to Thursday, like it always does during the college basketball tournament. And so essentially Collision was going head to head with TNA, and now because he's such a crybaby, nobody's watching AMC on a Thursday anyway. Your numbers are already in the fucking toilet. You're not getting that many people to watch your show anyway. He wants to throw a fit. By the way, I think Tony Khan did this to be petty. Typically on Thursdays, Ring of Honor starts at, I think, 7 p.m. Well, they have a new showtime. Thursdays at 8 p.m. going head-to-head against TNA. And so if you have Honor Club or myaew.com, maybe you should watch ROH instead of TNA. You'll get better wrestling. I do want to read this thread from Daniel Healy, a.k.a. Austin Aries. He said he put this on Twitter earlier today. Earlier in my career, TNA once tried to pull me off a Ring of Honor show the day of to fly me to Orlando for their pay-per-view early, before telling me they called ROH to tell them I wasn't coming. At that time, I was on a per appearance deal. Now, 20 years later, companies are still playing these political games. Underpaid talents get used as pawns, and media used to shape narratives, while talent and fans pay the price. It wasn't right then, and it isn't right now, so label me what you will, but also know the origins of the labels. I'm glad for the 15 plus years I spent under contract and on TV, but now as a truly independent contractor, I value being in control of my bookings and staying out of the politics. Book me and I will show up, be professional, honest, and fair, and you'll get the same. I think he hits the mark. Here's what irritates me about this whole situation. If Tony Khan did this, you would have everybody and their mother saying the worst of the worst about Tony Khan. And yet, Carlos Silva gets a free pass. And I do wonder, like, was this truly a TNA thing? Or was this a push to from TKO? Because I know unofficially, I think the relationship with TNA is essentially over with WWE and TNA, but like unofficially, it feels like they're still working together in some aspect. It grinds my gears to see the level of pettiness by these companies. I think MJF was well within his right to be upset. He was going to have a really good match with Nick Nemeth. Nick Nemeth put on social media today that in some way, shape, or form, he's going to have this match at some time in the future when I guess it's contractually allowed. And so we'll see MJF and Nick Nemeth at some time, I think. I don't know. This is just, it's so dumb.
Yeah, and especially if WWE and TNA don't have a working relationship anymore, then it looks even worse for TNA because you're burning bridges that you probably shouldn't be burning. And then secondly, you're pissing off your talent that if you wanted to resign down the road,
Right.
you're gonna be putting a bad taste in their mouth. They're not gonna want to resign with you because of things like this.
Yeah.
And TNA's in no position to be doing things like this anyways. They can't even sell out their impacts. They can't sell out their pay-per-views and spare me with the whole Bound for Glory and Slammiversary shenanigans from last year, okay? If you looked on WrestleTix, I had an argument with somebody on X today about that. The Rebellion is 2 days away. 2 days away. TNA Hardcam, shown on television, did not release a section for that specific area until today. Why was that not open during the pre-sale? Why was that not open during the general sale? Why was the upper deck even open when you guys knew you were going to sell 20% of the arena? They've got 2,000 tickets sold, which is great for them, but it's in a 10,000 seat arena. It's going to be a quarter of the way filled, mostly the hard cam side and a little bit of behind the announcers. The upper decks will not be full. Most of the lower level will not be full. Their pay-per-view is going to look like what Dynamite looked like last night, 35 to 4,000 people, but it's going to look kind of terrible in person because it's only a quarter of the arena full. But it's for a pay-per-view. But why are we making these mistakes at a company that's been around for 24 years now? But in general, why are we making that mistake? Why are we releasing a lower level section, an entire section that's going to be shown on television 2 days out before the pay-per-view? Yep. Knowing damn well you may not sell that entire section out, so you're going to be moving people who may have bought upper deck tickets or people who bought seats in the corner on the other side. Now you have to fill up that whole thing because that's an easy sell. But nope, we're TNA. LOL TNA. LOL TNA is not only back, but LMAO TNA is probably been advanced now.
And pretty soon it might be RIP TNA.
They've had 7 lives. I mean, I'm telling you, I don't know how much more they got left.
It's quite embarrassing. I forgot to mention one match that I remembered while you were talking. Moose was kicked off a Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling show because I think he was scheduled to fight. It was another AEW talent. Was it Josh Alexander? I think I can't exactly remember.
May have been.
And it's like, why? Like, and here's the thing. Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling is going to dominate Canada. TNA is going to lose out Canada, and I hope in some way, shape, or form, an American broadcasting company shows Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, and I want to see the numbers when they finally do their TV stuff. I think they start in July or June or something. I can't remember the exact date for Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, but yeah. They're not making smart business decisions. And maybe Dixie Carter's back in control. Who knows?
It would not surprise me at this point if it wasn't. And what's funny is that Carlos Silva posted, and TNA, the company's Twitter account, posted this. So Carlos Silva retweeted it and basically, was very. This was his response to it, unless he has made some sort of response before that. That they released the entire season schedule for TNA this year, which is funny because it says they've released the entire season schedule, and yet there's a few dates on there that have a TBD. Not sure how you can release an entire fucking schedule when you don't have a fucking date or a city or arena booked for it. And he said he's already working on 2027. You should probably work on the remaining dates that you don't have filled that you posted on your social media before you work on 2027 there, Carlo. But that's his response is, hey guys, we're going to absolutely ignore the bullshit decisions I've just made over the last 2 days. But here's the rest of the schedule, so you guys can be ready to watch a maybe a 1,500 house for a 4,000 and 5,000 seat arena. We're going to be pulling collision numbers for our pay-per-views. But hey, join us. Join us. We'll be there.
Absolutely.
Ridiculous.
All right, let's move on to our buy, sell, and hold real quick. We just got a couple buy, sell, and holds here, and then we'll get to the main event. That's AEW Dynasty, our pick'ems. The challenge is open now. I will post the link in the description box once we hop off of here, and let y'all be able to use it. It's also in the Discord server. If you are in our Discord, go ahead and you can look at it there. And anyways, here's our buy, sell, and hold for this week. And just to refresh everybody who maybe didn't watch last week, buy, sell, and hold. Got a couple topics here that we're going to throw out, and we're either going to agree with it or buy it, buy the idea, sell the idea, or hold the idea. I'm going to buy that the Buffalo Sabres are beating the absolute shit out of the Columbus Blue Jackets right now. I don't think they got anybody in net. It's 5-0 Buffalo. They might win the Atlantic this year.
The 1% the Capitals have a chance of making the playoffs rely on the Jackets, the Senators, the Red Wings, and the Flyers, I think, and the Islanders maybe to lose as much as possible. So
you'll take that one. Go Sabres, right? All right, Here we go. Topic number 1. We'll talk about this later in the prediction, but the TNT Championship is officially cursed. And not like cursed like Danhausen, you are cursed. But like
sounded more like Cartman there.
but cursed, and as everybody who touches that belt has some sort of bad luck while touching it.
It's hard to disagree with that. There's been a few title reigns that have kind of gone through their run and not been affected by things like that or outside forces or whatever. But for the majority, man, it's been such a weird set of circumstances that have happened with people who have won that belt. I may have to go with buy on that. There's a lot that's been going on with that belt. Since it's been introduced in 2020.
Yeah. What was it? The first TNT champion was Cody Rhodes, correct? Yep. And then him and Sammy and Darby played peekaboo with it for a while.
Brody Lee
touched it and died. My bad. I apologize. -1. Please don't beat me up like you beat up Joey Janela. Adam Copeland.
Sammy got injured, and then Cody had it, and him and Sammy were fighting. Sammy was gonna the first battle of the belts in Charlotte that we went to. It was supposed to be Cody versus Sammy for the belt, but Cody got COVID, so he couldn't show up. And then they had an interim champion with Sammy and Dustin Rhodes. And then Cody left, so it was like it played hot potato with Cody and Sammy for a while. I think Darby had pretty much a full run. Miro was okay, but it didn't really elevate the belt. But I don't think he got injured. It just didn't do too much. But man, there's been a lot of problems with that belt.
And then the recent history, Adam Copeland won it and decided to go feet first through a table and broke his leg. Yep. Mark Briscoe got a couple teeth knocked out holding that belt. More teeth than he already lost. Nothing really happened to Tommaso Ciampa that I can remember, but now Adam Cole got his brains blown out by Kyle Fletcher holding that belt, and then had to basically...
Kyle Fletcher was going to win it from Adam Cole at All In, Texas, and then there was a fatal four-way?
Fatal four-way.
Dustin Rhodes.
Dustin won it. And then afterwards, Dustin has to have double knee surgery, so he has to relinquish the. It is. I'm gonna go ahead and buy. It's cursed. It is the most
Yeah.
cursed championship AEW has. They might as well get rid of it. I put on social media last night. This title is cursed. It may be good if nobody wins the Gauntlet Battle Royal next on Sunday
We
night.
may need to rename this title. I don't care what we rename it to.
Yeah.
Get it off that.
Put some sage out. I don't know what needs to be done, but it is cursed. All right, second topic. We'll go to WWE here. You ready? By the end of 2026, the average viewership of WWE SmackDown will dip below 1 million viewers.
So SmackDown could probably still get worse, and it may get worse. Who knows? But it may have a couple weeks maybe where it's flirting or may get right underneath that. But it's still it's got enough name value to where it won't be like that for the entirety of the year or even going into 2027. I'm gonna sell on that one.
Yeah, this one is probably the toughest one for me because you're right. SmackDown is SmackDown. I think there's enough casual fans that like just watch wrestling, not necessarily for the story, but just because it's like almost
It's like Monday Night Raw. It's Friday Night SmackDown. You just
right. It's like it's a habit for them. Like, oh,
Yeah.
Friday's the night that I watch SmackDown. If we go to WrestleNomics Patreon page here, I want to see what their last show was before I make my total decision here. NXT on Tuesday was 605. They've plummeted, by the way. NXT has plummeted the last couple of weeks. Come on now. I think they were right at like 1.1 or 1.2 if I remember seeing it earlier a couple of days ago. Obviously we can't get the raw numbers because it's Netflix, so it's not. I don't think Netflix releases a weekly number. I think they do a live
almost like
number.
a quarter.
I think Raw does a live plus 7 days number, so it usually comes out a week later. For the Netflix stuff, let's see. Friday Night SmackDown. I lied. They had 1.50 viewers, so I do think they'll probably stay above 1 million. But there's going to be a couple weeks. They're on USA, so if they have to go to like another network, like I know a couple weeks ago, they moved it to Sci-Fi for whatever reason. They may drop below on those individual shows, but on a regular basis, I think. DJ Wavy D says Friday is the night I get no bitches, so I watch naked men grab each other. Might as well, my friend. Yeah, I'll sell that one. I'll sell that one as well. Ready for the last one before we get into our predictions? Here we go. The city of Charlotte, North Carolina, will get an AEW pay-per-view in 2026 or 2027.
Oh, see, now you're putting 2 years into it. If you just said 2026, I'm like, that's a damn easy ass sell. But because you put 2027 into it, I'm going to say buy. Yeah, we haven't had a show since January of 2025. They've only had one pay-per-view in North Carolina, and that was the best wrestling pay-per-view of all time, Revolution 2024. But I think that Charlotte is still a pretty good wrestling town. And if they give us a pay-per-view, Spectrum Center, Tony will be there. I promise you, we'll be there.
We'll be front row buying VIP. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, we're not like you, all right? We're not all of us have money. But no, we will be there. I promise you, we will be there. We'll be loud and proud. Just fucking book it, man.
Book it.
We went through this. We got 15,000 different kinds of places we can host to something.
Right.
Just do it.
I think I'm going to sell it though. As much as I want a pay-per-view in Charlotte, I think Charlotte can be a pay-per-view venue. I think Bank of America Stadium is building and doing some additions to the complex to make it more spectator friendly. I would love an All In. I would love a Double or Nothing. I would love a show. Charlotte Knight Stadium would be fun to have a pay-per-view at. I just don't see Tony Khan booking a pay-per-view in an area where he's not comfortable or used to putting pay-per-views. Tony Khan has his pay-per-view cities. And I know sometimes he likes to go out to the crowd and bloviate a little bit, but I think he told Denver that he wants to put a pay-per-view in Denver. Like, there are just certain cities that Tony Khan goes to every single year, and the crowds are always great. And Charlotte should be one of them, but as we've seen so far in 2026, we haven't gotten a show. They're going to North Charleston. They're going to Asheville. They're skipping Charlotte for shows there, and for maybe good reason. I don't know, but it seems like 2026 is a no. 2027 maybe, but then again, if Tony Khan's putting a pay-per-view on the East Coast, he seems like bound and determined to keep it in the Northeast, New Jersey, New York. So I don't see it. Maybe he does. Maybe Chris Jericho or Adam Copeland retires and they bring a show down to Charlotte. I don't know. There has to, like, Greensboro got a pay-per-view because it was Sting's retirement match. Other than that, I don't know if Greensboro gets that show. So something big would have to, maybe like Ric Flair would have to come out of retirement for Charlotte to get a pay-per-view match.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
And, yeah. Rick, stay home. I'm a sell on that one. All right. Everybody's ready for these predictions. I hope you're ready. Are you ready, my friend, for some predicting of the show?
I think so.
All right. I've pulled up the template that I use. This is not what it looks like when you click on it, but I don't want to go through it that way. If you go to the Google Forms link, I've shared it on my X page. You can go ahead and make your predictions either now live or maybe after the show goes off the air here. Let's talk about AEW Dynasty. Do you think you have what it takes to predict AEW Dynasty? Let's talk about this 0 hour match. Alex Windsor versus Marina Shafir. And let me tell you, this match is booked for one reason. Marina Shafir is part of the Death Riders, and Alex Windsor is Will Ospreay's fiance, and that's the story. Don't ask me why they're fighting. That's the story. Will Ospreay's girl against the Death Riders. Who wins?
We'll go Alex Windsor. I don't really have a reason why. I'm just going Alex Windsor. It's going off of a feeling.
I actually put some thought into this one. I'm going Marina Shafir. And this is the reason why. If Alex Windsor wins on the pre-show, is Will Ospreay going to win on the main show? I'll leave that question for future discussion. All right, let's talk about the main card. This is so far. Here we go. It's live. I'm not adding anything else to the spreadsheet. If Tony Khan adds 44 million other matches between now and the pay-per-view, they don't count for this. So I think he might add one more 0 hour match. But let's get to this main card. The first match that I think was ever mentioned for this show was FTR versus Christian Cage, who fucks mothers, by the way. I don't know if you know that or not. He fucks mothers. And Adam Copeland.
That why we haven't seen Nick Wayne's mom on TV in a while?
Oh, if you watch ROH, she's on ROH with her son.
She ain't on AEW though.
That's fair. They had to separate each other.
That's it.
Who wins it? FTR or Cage? Cope and Cage.
I mean, I think this is, to me, it should be the simplest match on the card. It's in Canada. You got a couple Canadian boys fighting for titles. I don't think all of them are winning, but I think this is one that will be going to the Canadian boys, and I think Cage and Cope will win the tag team titles.
That's a good pick, my friend. It's a good pick. But not so fast, my friend. FTR retains. Because we're setting up another match. And I don't know how this works. I haven't thought about how it gets done. But my opinion is FTR retains. And the Young Bucks will get involved some way, shape, or form. And so we're going to eventually set up the triple threat of a lifetime. Cage and Cope versus FTR versus the Young Bucks TLC match. Everyone thinks it's happening at All In. I don't. I think it happens in New York at Double or Nothing. So they have to build to it quick. I think it works better with FTR as champions. Maybe the Young Bucks interrupt somehow, though they have a match themselves on the card, so I don't know how that would work. But I'm feeling pretty confident here. FTR gets the win.
I think you still have the triple TLC ladder match with Cage and Cope winning. Yeah, I think there's a way to do that.
Let's talk about something real quick though. Speaking of FTR, Stokely Hathaway does a better spear than Jey Uso. By the way, I just want to let everybody know.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Got to give the man props. That was pretty good.
All right.
Wonder who taught him that.
Who knows? It's a mystery. All right, the Young Bucks fight the team of Okada versus Takeshita. Now, I don't know if the stipulation is they fight, and if they finish the match, then Okada fights Takeshita, or do they have to win to fight each other? That part didn't make sense to me last night. Maybe you can explain it better, but Okada and Takeshita, they're like mortal enemies in the Don Callis family. They're tag teaming against the Young Bucks, and usually I have a rule with pay-per-views in the Young Bucks, which is never pick the Young Bucks to win because they always lose a pay-per-view match. Because they're such great ambassadors for pro wrestling. They care so much about the business. They're okay losing pay-per-view matches. I'm making an exception for this one. I'm getting the Young Bucks to win this match. I think they beat Okada and Takeshita, and it is going to eventually set up a match between Okada and Takeshita, either at the next pay-per-view or probably the Dynamite or Collision afterwards.
They better not be on a Dynamite or Collision, I'll tell you that much. I'll be severely pissed. Yeah, I'm going with the Bucks as well. I think this is the easy way for them to say, hey, we've beaten two top singles guys in a tag team. We should be vying again for the tag team titles. This can start to lead up to Cage and Cope versus the Bucks, and then FTR is like, no, we want to invoke our rematch clause, and then that's how we could possibly set up the triple ladder TLC match at Double or Nothing. Regardless, though, I think Okada and Takeshita will just somehow break down and fight each other. One may walk out on the other, and it'll start their feud to where they can finally have that one-on-one match. But I'm going with the Bucks as well.
All righty, the next match, Chris Jericho's back. He brought the list with him, and Ricochet, you just made the list. You're fighting Chris Jericho on Sunday night. Who wins it?
You know, Chris Jericho. Oh, Well, I do have a reason why, but I'm going to save that one. But yeah, I'm just going to go with Jericho.
Yeah, I feel like this is Jericho's time. He's back. He's a little, he's going to be a little rusty. But I can't wait to see Ricochet lose another pay-per-view match. It seems like he loses a lot of them. But no, Chris Jericho is going to be the winner of this match. I do want to bring up a comment from the comment section from our good friend, Mr. Clodfelter. We need some new blood in the tag team division. Do you agree?
I do agree with that. I think we've been prolonging the Cage and Cope FTR tag team title belt for a while, and then I think Tony wanted to make it to where if Cage and Cope win the belts, they're doing it in Canada. Perfect time to do it. This gets us through that point. We're gonna have these three tag teams as the main guys for now. I did mention on either the last podcast we did in 2025 or the first one we did in 2026 that I hope Tony Khan does put more emphasis back on the tag team division again, make it the best tag team division in the world. We've gotten some teams to do it. However, Private Party, Mark Quinn got hurt again. There's still some good tag teams out there, but there is some injuries as well. So that's kind of putting a little bit of a wrench, I'm sure, in some of the plans.
Yep.
But I think maybe hopefully once we get to maybe the summertime towards the fall, we get some of that new blood in there. Maybe we can rebuild the tag team division again to make it to where it was.
I got some good news about the tag team division, though. As you said, there's some injuries. So start with the bad news. There's some injuries. Like Mark Quinn's hurt. I think Luchasaurus got hurt, so Jack Perry has to run his singles run for a minute here. But it sounds like whichever Gunn, I think it was Colton Gunn that got hurt. He's
cleared again. Yep.
Cleared. I think Jay White should be coming back soon. I hope in some way, shape, or form. I think Kyle O'Reilly kind of made a offhand remark that he may be cleared to come back. So some of the people that were injured, that were kind of in this tag team scene, are on their way back. We have Bobby Lashley back with Shelton Benjamin. So there's that. But then in an indie show, so I don't know if AEW is going to run this as a story, Max Caster and Anthony Bowens wrestled a match as a tag team last weekend. I think the story is the Acclaimed are on their way back. And so I think we might
That'd be interesting.
Might get the Acclaimed back here very shortly. And it would make sense if they had a prominent match in New York City. Isn't that where they won the tag team belts the first time? At Arthur Ashe. This time they'll do it just down the road in Louis Armstrong.
Yeah. That's a good point. Definitely a good point to bring up.
So we'll see. I agree. We do need some new life into the tag team division. Hopefully we get some of these injuries back, and that will happen. Same thing with the women's division, though. Amanada's back. Sheeta came back last week, so it'll be fun to see how that works. Let's talk about the gauntlet match for the TNT Championship. And you notice it's the only one without a multiple choice because I don't know who's in this match. I think the only one confirmed for this match is Tommaso Ciampa. But it's a casino gauntlet match.
There's one more. It's Roosh.
Okay. Fair. But this, if you're filling out this bracket, if you're filling out this tournament, it allows you to just write somebody random who you think might win it. So, who do you think wins the Casino Gauntlet and takes the TNT Championship?
Oh my God. I literally pulled up the AEW men's roster because I'm trying to figure out who could fit in this spot, who might be somebody that may not be on TV again that could win it. Man, man, first of all, there's a lot of guys on the men's roster that we probably need to clear that up just a little bit there, buddy boy.
Big Boom AJ. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh my God. There are so many guys that there's a million different ways you can go about this. Could it be somebody from the Don Callis family kind of making their night better? Could it be somebody like a Jay White? Is he close to being returning? That he comes back and he's in this gauntlet and he wins the match. I'm gonna be wrong. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm gonna be wrong. I have two choices in my head. One probably makes a little bit more sense than the other because he's been a former TNT champion, so it kind of makes sense.
Okay.
Actually, I have three choices. I'm so sorry. I have three people in my head. Two of them are former TNT champions. One is coming back from injury. It could be Orange Cassidy. That's kind of a safer bet if you're going to go with somebody who's going to be a workhorse, who's going to give you great matches, and be a good TNT champion. Cassidy is a great person to pick. Safe option if you really want to call it that. A guy that is, I think, could be returning from injury if he's still under contract with AEW. Just so happened to post a thing on his social media that American Gladiators is coming out pretty soon. What if that's his way of trying to say he's getting ready to come back on TV? What if that's Wardlow? What if Wardlow comes back and wins the TNT title? I'm going to go with this answer. It's going to be on and I'm filling mine out as we go, so I'm not like cheating, and I'm just going to put somebody else. I'm going to put this guy because I think that it could drastically help the TNT title and give this guy something to hold on to and elevate the TNT title again. That person, I'm just double checking to make sure he's not in any match. He is not. Swerve Strickland.
Okay. I like it.
That's my answer.
Swerve Strickland. I like it. There are, like you said, there's a lot of people that could win this match, and it makes it very hard to know because one, it's like a 21-man gauntlet match, but it's like first pin to a fall, so like 8 people might be in this match before it ends. Like I don't know how long this match is going to go. I don't know which people are going to come out. And so,
I'm gonna make a bold prediction and say this match is actually going to start on the pre-show and then bleed into the opening of the pay-per-view.
I like it.
That's how we go.
I actually like that idea. So when I had my pick, I thought of Swerve, but I was like, I feel like Swerve is a little too big for that. And then I also thought of Hangman Adam Page, but I was like,
I was thinking that too.
But I was like, I don't know if Hangman is like actually taking time off. Like there were that rumor that he's taking a long time away from the business. So I didn't go there. I thought Brody King would be a good pick. He's a fan favorite.
I unfortunately thought that as well.
But I went with what I thought was my safe bet, and I went with Tommaso Ciampa because
yeah.
I feel like he they can. It would be easier to build a story around him getting Sylvie back than something else.
I agree with that. I think Tony wants to put a little bit I think this might be Tony's not biggest. He likes to do something a little bit different. He likes to do something sometimes off the wall when it comes to these gauntlet matches, or especially if there's a tournament for a new champion. Sometimes I think he likes to throw a little bit of a wrench in there, something we may not be seeing coming. Right. So that's why I put Swerve, but I can absolutely see there's a lot of people you could probably say could win this, and they all make sense. Tommaso is probably like an Orange Cassidy, a pretty good safe blanket. That's a good bet as well.
Right. And then if they wanted to, now tell me if I'm wrong. Kyle O'Reilly is from Vancouver, correct?
He absolutely is. Yep.
All right. So like I'm not changing my pick because I've already posted my picks in there. I'm going Ciampa. My dark horse is going to be Kyle O'Reilly. Mr. Clodfelter brought up a good name that actually put out
Sammy
a
Guevara, I
picture.
think he will be in the gauntlet. He's not officially announced, but I know he posted something on social media. I do believe he'll be in that gauntlet.
Yeah, he posted a photo, I think immediately after them declaring it a match on the show last night with him winning the TNT title. So we'll see how it goes. I'm playing a little safe here with Ciampa, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. The next match on this card, Jon Moxley fights Will Ospreay, and I feel like someone might die in this match, to be completely honest. What say you? Who wins?
Because we haven't submitted anything, and until we submit anything, it's not official, right?
I changed your mind again on this, and you're going. I changed your mind again.
Absolutely did, and it's because and you had me thinking, and I just happened to type the name in, and there's a teaser for it. So now I've had to switch my mind. And if it's the one that propels me to win this month again, you may have to get a secondary assist again on that. I'm changing my answer from Swerve Strickland to Kyle O'Reilly. It's now going to be Kyle O'Reilly that I think will win this match.
Motherfucker.
I'm sorry.
I need to shut up when it comes
posted
to
he had an interview
with the Vancouver.
Well, see, I was like, yeah, he's from Vancouver. Yeah, I mean, but he's injured. There's no way. And then he had an interview today that said, I really want to be ready in time for the Vancouver pay-per-view, which is Dynasty coming up this weekend. So wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Maybe I'll be back in time for that.
Yeah.
Perfect time. Well, perfect opportunity. And you got me the answer. Thank you.
You're welcome. Who wins Will Ospreay and Jon Moxley?
Thank you. Well, I am so indifferent with this match because my thought process is still out there. And I feel like I have to be committed to this. It helped me last month with MJF. The story is in August when Ospreay wins the world title. It's such a weird timing for this match because it's for the Continental title, and I just don't understand why we had to push this so quickly and why it has to be for the title. But sometimes, even though when you come back, you don't automatically get this shoved to the moon. Sometimes you have to struggle and you have to take some L's before you eventually build your way back up. I still think the Owen Hart Cup is happening next month. I think Ospreay takes an L here, and I think he doesn't win the Continental title. That's still Moxley to hold. I guess Ospreay could be a double champion, I suppose. I just don't see it happening. I guess he could be a double champion and then maybe drop the title in June at Forbidden Door if they have it, or maybe July at a Dynamite. I don't know. I just don't think he's winning this match. I'm going Ospreay, or I'm going Moxley.
Going Moxley. Okay. Well, I said I picked Shafir to win the pre-show because I thought, the opposite was going to happen, basically. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And the Ospreay-Moxley match, I actually totally forgot it was for the Continental Championship. But I'm not changing my mind here because I do think Will Ospreay is going to win this match. And here's the thing. The Continental Championship is one of those titles that like I feel like Moxley is defending it a lot more than past Continental Champion holders have really defended it. I feel like the Continental Championship should be something that kind of like the Owen Hart belt, where you win the Continental Classic you're the Continental Champion, and then the next year you fight in the Continental Classic, you're automatically enrolled in that tournament again. I don't like this idea that the Continental Championship has to be defended on every show. And I think Moxley's had a good run with it, but I think Ospreay can really, make this a big thing. With Forbidden Door in June, I think he could have a match for the Continental Belt on Forbidden Door. That could be a really good match, and he could drop it again, maybe to someone like David Finlay or Clark Connors or something like that at Forbidden Door. If they're not trios champions at that time, we'll see. But yeah, I'm sticking to my guns here, and I'm sticking with William Ospreay to get the dub. All right, this match I don't understand.
And I'm kind of the same. I was gonna say I'm the same way, kind of with you. Is that I have Windsor winning the pre-show, so I have Moxley winning so like you, it just kind of flip-flops.
Flip-flop. So here's what's going to happen. Either I get everything right and you get everything wrong, which usually doesn't happen. Usually it's in the reverse. So I should probably assume that you're going to get everything right because you always get everything fucking right in these tournaments. But I'm hoping the opposite happens here. I need help understanding why this match is not on the pre-show. Andrade El Idolo, or like could it not be on the Collision before? The Saturday before. I don't understand why this match has to be on the pay-per-view. Darby Allin fights Andrade El Idolo, and if Andrade wins, he fights MJF. Is that the stipulation? I don't really understand the stipulation behind it.
Yes. If Darby wins, he receives a future title match. It doesn't say anything about Andrade though.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess MJF picked Darby to fight Andrade because Andrade is complaining that they're doing business with him or something like that. The whole thing makes not a lot of sense to me, to be completely honest. It's like one of them side stories in GTA 5 where like you're supposed to do one thing, but now Andrade's doing a completely different thing. I don't know. The Don Callis family is confusion. I'm going Darby Allin to win this match. Who do you go?
I got Darby as well. I think based off his promo from last night, it's just I got a good feeling about Darby winning.
Good. All right, 2 more matches to make our prediction here. The world champion Tekla takes on Jamie Hayter for the AEW Women's Championship in a match that, again, Tony Khan, what are you doing with your women's division? Why does Jamie Hayter get a title match? It doesn't make sense to me. Is she not in a freaking tag team with Alex Windsor? Why can't she fight for the tag team championships on this pay-per-view? Tony Khan, we need more direction in the women's tag team division. I'm going to have to eat every single word I said when you made these tag team belts. You're going to push women's tag team wrestling, and my co-host over here said, no, women's tag teams are not needed. You don't need the belts. And I told him, I think you're wrong. Well, you're making me look like a dumbass. So please, for the love of God, Tony Khan, put the women's tag team belts front and center. Why is Jamie Hayter getting a championship match here? Oh, because she had a feud at some point in time with Tekla? It doesn't make sense.
Your new tag team champions have barely been on TV since they won the belts last month and aren't even on the card this month.
Right. I'm hoping on Collision they get added to the card. But who are they going to fight? They haven't built a story around another tag team to fight them. So it makes maybe they do an open challenge. I think Willow might put an open challenge for the TBS belt. We might get Mercedes Moné on the pay-per-view. coming back at the pay-per-view to fight Willow again. It just doesn't make sense. I want more women's wrestling on the show, but it has to make sense. Why does Jamie Hayter get to cut the line? It just doesn't.
Quite literally, she was just tag teaming and in a trios match with Windsor, and they've been a tag team for a couple months now, building up their repertoire as a tag team. And then to me, it just seemed like it came out of a left field when she showed up with Ospreay last night. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. It makes sense. Wait, what happened with her and Jamie Hayter? Why is this happening? What purpose is this?
Here's what happened. Tony Khan, this wasn't on Collision last week. Tony Khan announced the World Championship, the Women's World Championship match, and this pre-show match like Sunday morning. God is good, Jesus is risen, happy Easter. Here's two matches that don't make sense. They don't make sense.
Yeah.
If I had to hear Tony Khan tell Vince Russo one more time, and just like you, Vince, I'm a Christian, I might have blown my head off.
Yeah, and before we get to the main event, another point of topic I want to bring up is this whole thing throws a wrench with Ospreay and Jon Moxley's feud right now, because I think Ospreay is the main event guy at All In. I said this last September, and then I continue with that thought in December when I said MJF would win the world title, that it was going to set up between possibly him and MJF at All In, and we'll get to the main event here in just a second. But this throws a whole wrench into it, because typically the Owen Hart Cup Finals is at Double or Nothing.
Right.
That's when the winner of that tournament gets the main event spot for All In.
Right.
Problem is, I don't think this feud with Moxley and Ospreay ends on Sunday. They had a Chaos in Canada match, but guess what? What does usually Double or Nothing have? Anarchy in the Arena.
Right.
It has to be between those two teams. And I guess you could still have that, but
here's what Here's what I feel, though, is going to happen with that. By the way, I think we both are going to pick Tekla to win that women's match.
Yes. Sorry, I should have said that. Yes.
Yeah, Tekla's winning. But here's what's going to happen with that is I think at Forbidden Door, like I said, Ospreay could win this belt and fight at Forbidden Door. Like, I'm thinking about it now. They're probably doing blood and guts at Forbidden Door between United Empire and Death Riders, either then or at Double or Nothing. So
yeah. This whole thing just throws a big wrench, because you could possibly have Anarchy in the Arena, Double or Nothing. You could have a blood and guts match at Forbidden Door. So if Ospreay is supposed to win the world title at All In, when are you going to have the Owen Hart Memorial Cup? How's he going to win it? I guess you could theoretically still do it. Maybe they do just Anarchy in the Arena at Double or Nothing, and they push back the Owen Hart Cup to Double or Nothing, or Forbidden Door. One way that maybe they might be doing that is because last year, All In was in July. May was Double or Nothing. They didn't have a pay-per-view. They didn't have Forbidden Door in June. They had it in September or August.
Right.
So everything got pushed back. So that makes sense. Maybe they're going to push the Owen Hart Cup to Forbidden Door in June, because they're not going to have a pay-per-view in July, and they're going to have that 2-month build to All In. So maybe their thought is, okay, we can push back that Owen Hart Cup to Forbidden Door, and then make it a little more of an international flair. Maybe there could be somebody that's not an AEW talent be in the finals. Maybe it could be in United Empire versus United Empire finals. It could be somebody else from New Japan Pro Wrestling against somebody from AEW, a CMLL guy versus an AEW. That is just my thinking, and maybe I'm talking myself into my explanation of reasoning for why I'm not picking Ospreay to win the match and potentially for the main event. But in general, to me, the writing's on the wall that this feud's going to continue, and it's just, to me, throws a wrench into the Owen Hart Cup thing. And because I'm holding on to hope that I think Ospreay is going to win the world title at All In, it just looks weird.
Yeah, and I agree. I think Ospreay, they changed when Ospreay came back. They changed the advertising poster for All In to Ospreay. Like, Ospreay's the only guy on the poster right now. And so I think Ospreay is main eventing that show. And he's winning the world championship, I think, in London. How are we going to get him there? And you're right, having him win the Continental Belt may not be the best way to do it. I just think it's a good way because I don't know.
I think either way, they're kind of backed themselves into a corner because, like I said, I don't think this feud's ending by any
Right.
means on Sunday. It's going to continue to at least Double or Nothing, probably Forbidden Door. To me, it just seems like they kind of backed themselves into a corner a little bit with this booking. Now they could get themselves out of it, and maybe this is just a one match thing on Sunday. We could be wrong. I don't know, but either way you slice it, to me, it's just like, man, this kind of just feels weird as we move past to Sunday.
Yeah, they're going to have to now. Here's what I will say, and obviously we have to pick a winner, and there's no DQs or anything. But I could see this match going time limit draw. I could see this match.
I could see that
ending in a DQ, and then that's how they continue
or
the feud.
They could. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Just because it immediately popped in my head, there could be a DQ finish because in a Continental Championship match, it's under Continental rules where there's nobody at ringside. Death Riders could come out as Ospreay's about to win the match, hit the hidden blade, and then all of a sudden here comes Claudio or Pac or somebody, and all of a sudden bam, DQ. Now I may want to hold off on that because I don't know if that person comes to ringside that they just lose the match and the champion keeps the belt, or if it switches hands. If it switches hands, maybe not, and it could be a DQ or time limit. So that part I'm not sure about, but
I
don't know.
We'll have to see, I guess. We'll have to see how it goes. Oh, here we go. He's booking himself. Like he's cooking right now.
The sauce is stirring, man. Or this is our way that we try to get Ospreay as the ultimate underdog type of thing. Everybody's against him. Everything's against him. He brings United Empire from Japan to fight to help him with this battle. And then Callum Newman turns on him.
Yep.
He comes down, costs Ospreay the match. They turn on him, and it's like, holy shit, what? Why? And maybe the Don Callis family has something to do with him, with Mark Davis. He used to be a United Empire guy. Obviously, Fletcher was. He's hurt. But maybe Don Callis got in his ear. There could be a way around that. And who knows? It's going to be interesting to see what happens on Sunday. That match, I think I'm circling the most as that's a slippery slope, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens on Sunday.
Right. Well, that leads us to our main event, MJF, the Devil, the AEW Men's World Champion, the longest champion in AEW history, fights Kenny, by God, Omega, the Cleaner, the best bout machine, the god of pro wrestling, whatever you want to call him. MJF fights Kenny Omega for the AEW Championship. My friend, who walks out of Vancouver, British Columbia as the champion?
The winner and still the AEW World Champion will be MJF. I got Jericho winning in Canada. I got Cope and Christian winning in Canada. Not every Canadian is going to win in this on this card. MJF will retain, and like I said, going back to September and December, my prediction was MJF versus Ospreay for the world title in London. I will say this, that your prediction, I think, in December was Omega versus Ospreay, maybe even January, maybe whenever Omega came back or whatever.
Right.
Your prediction was Ospreay and Omega. I think that it still would be a fantastic match. You don't necessarily have to have a heel and a face. It could be that dream match. They've already fought before, but it could still be, they haven't fought in years, 3 or 4 years. And I think Ospreay was under contract with NJPW, and it was a Forbidden Door match between the two. Now
and all the IWC WWE stands were pissed the fuck off because he hit that Tiger Driver and about exploded Kenny's fucking neck.
Yeah.
I have a podcast. I had a podcast on that at the very beginning before you were even on the show, talking about why that was the greatest match of the year. Anyways,
fair enough. If they can absolutely run that match at All In, it'll sell tickets. It'll be a great match. I don't necessarily. You don't have to have heel in the face. No matter if somehow Ospreay was the heel, he's not going to be a heel in his home country.
Right.
And to me, if you're going to have Kenny win the world title again, he had a heel run with the title. I don't think you would want to do that again. You would want to be a face and keep that title. So it could very well happen. And there's a caveat to this as well. I picked MJF, and I still think in my predictions, MJF versus Ospreay for the world title at All In. Now, 2 years ago or 3 years ago at All In, it was MJF versus Ospreay for the international title or American title, whatever the hell they called it. So it's like, why would they run that match again in London for a championship? Well, it's for the world title. It's a little bit different. MJF is obviously going to be your main heel, and Ospreay is going to be the uber, super, mega babyface. And that's how it traditionally in most pay-per-views, but especially your biggest show, you have to have a face versus a heel, in my opinion.
Right.
Just because to me, that's just like it culminates the ultimate heel, the ultimate babyface. They clash. We hopefully get the babyface winning on top. And that's why I'm picking MJF. I think he's going to keep this belt until we get to All In, and then Ospreay is going to be the babyface and win the belt. I can see a world where Kenny does win this, and it's Kenny versus Ospreay for the world title, and Ospreay still wins it. And I wouldn't be mad at that. It would sell great tickets. I would be a little upset because my prediction was wrong, but that's okay. But yeah, I'm still going to go with my original prediction and stick with MJF.
Yeah. As you said, I was very high on it's going to be Omega versus Ospreay and All In London. And so you would think with that line of thought that I would have Kenny Omega winning this match. And boy, let me tell you, you would be wrong because I'm picking MJF to win this. And you're thinking, why? If it's Omega versus Ospreay, how does Omega get the belt? And the answer is, I don't think he does anymore. I've changed my mind on this. I think you're right. It's going to be MJF and Ospreay because I think in London, I think we're going to get Kenny Omega fighting for the international belt and fighting Okada again, and to continue that feud. Or maybe it's Takeshita, because I do think Okada and Takeshita will be the Forbidden Door. I think that's where they'll fight. They'll have their one-on-one at Forbidden Door with Takeshita fighting as a New Japan wrestler because he's a dual contracted wrestler. So Takeshita will show alliance to New Japan and not AEW. I think that'll be the caveat there. So I'm going MJF. Because you're right. It doesn't have to be heel versus face, but it feels like it does. And I feel like the bigger match right now is MJF and Will Ospreay. And we've seen it before, but I think this match would just mean a little bit more if it was MJF versus Ospreay. And Ospreay can beat the biggest heel in pro wrestling. I think he's the best heel in pro wrestling right now, MJF. And so that's I'm on your side on this officially, and I'll go MJF to win here.
Now watch, you've dedicated and you've now said you're going to be on my side with this, and watch Kenny win on Sunday. Blow the whole thing.
I'll be posting on social media expletives if that does happen. We're running something different on this pick'em. I'm adding a bonus point to this show to see if you can get this right. How long will the main event match, MJF versus Kenny Omega, how long will it take? 10 minutes or less? 11 to 15 minutes? 16 to 20 minutes? Or 21 minutes or longer?
To me, I think it's definitely going to go 21 minutes or longer. I think we're going to get 25, 30 out of them. Their match on Collision a few years ago was fantastic. I don't remember how long that match was. I want to say all those words for y'all to agree. Listen, man, back in September, I said it was Ospreay versus Omega or Ospreay versus MJF. I called this thing back in the summer. As soon as Ospreay got hurt at Forbidden Door last year, I was like, man, it's easy. This is an easy call here. It's MJF versus, or maybe not MJF at that time, but I thought for sure Ospreay would come back in the summer, win the Owen Hart Cup, and then main event All In and win the world title. To me, that's just an easy book, and to see that plain as clear as day. But anyways, yeah, MJF and Omega had a great match on Collision a few years ago. I want to say it probably went maybe 20, 22, maybe a little bit longer, might be a little bit less depending on the TV time with it. But I think they get a little bit more time for sure, maybe about 30, and they tear the house down in Vancouver on Sunday.
Yeah, I think this match goes somewhere around like 17 or 18 minutes, to be honest. I somewhere around there. I think like MJF, he's a good wrestler, and he's wrestled 60-minute classics before. But I don't know if this match has to be a 60-minute classic. And I don't know if Kenny Omega can wrestle a 20-plus minute match anymore with him just coming back to wrestling. So I think somewhere around 15 to 17 minutes will be kind of the length of the match. It doesn't have to be an all-time great match, but MJF is going to make it a pretty good match. Omega is going to get his spots, and so yeah, I'll go somewhere between 16 and 20 minutes. Another question. It's not in the prediction. What time will the show end? 1 o'clock in the morning?
Probably. Will I be up watching the show at 1 o'clock in the morning? More than likely not.
Will I be watching it until it goes off air? Yes, because I work on Monday, the Monday after. So if I don't watch it live, I'll probably not be able to watch it until next weekend. But anyways, join our Discord. This is the Real Wrestling community. Scan that QR code and join the Discord. You can follow the results of this challenge here at the Discord. I'll also post it on social media. Any last comments before we get off air tonight, my friend?
Sunday should be a very good show. Dynasty. Looking forward to it. No, we just can't have a show without this, can we? We just got to do it. All right, what's your question, sir? Bring it on. But no, besides that, I think Dynasty is going to be a great show, and got a good sports weekend as well. For those of you watching Dynasty on Sunday night on the East Coast, and it's going to go late into the night, you have a great opportunity to maybe get a cat nap in, get some energy before the show, watch the end of the Masters. Great opportunity to get a great nap in. Anytime you put golf on, it's ready for a good nap. But yeah, that's all I got.
The great voice of, is it Jim Nantz, who calls the Masters every year?
You got Bryson DeChambeau on 17 here. If he gets his pun here, he could win it all.
Yeah. Speaking of
hello, friends. Jim Nantz here.
Speaking of sporting events, in a couple weeks, we'll be live here on the Junkyard Media Group, but it won't be the Beyond the Junkyard podcast because it's going to be our third annual NFL live draft live stream. This guy, his team picks, was it 7th overall? He's going to be ready for the Washington Commanders to pass on future Hall of Famer Sonny Styles.
If any of you caught any of the reaction to 2022-23, when we picked Emmanuel Forbes at, what was it, 12, 13, 15, something like that. And the very next pick was Christian Gonzalez, and I vouched that we needed to get Christian Gonzalez. If you haven't watched it, I'm sure that there will be a promotional piece for our NFL Draft podcast happening in a few weeks. And let it be known that if the Commanders pass over Jeremiah Love and Sonny Styles, that you will see me live on camera immediately go from my laptop to my phone because I will be taking the quickest, fastest route to Ashburn, Virginia, and burn the entire headquarters down.
Look, you might as well stop
yeah.
at the. Well, they no longer practice in Richmond. I was going to say you're going to get caught in Richmond traffic. You might as well.
Not at that time of night. We should be fine.
That's
Maybe
fair.
not. There could be a lot of people on 95 North doing the same thing I would be doing. So
Right. All right, you ready? You ready for the stump the sauce man question of the day? Here we go.
Stump the sauce. What do we got?
Stump the sauce. Here we go. This wrestler drew a full house with his performance when he defeated Psychosis on Nitro, October 1999, for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship.
A name immediately popped in my head, and I can't remember if he won it at that time frame or if he won a little bit later. I'm going to have 3 guesses on this.
Okay.
My first guess is Oklahoma.
That was a guy, Oklahoma.
Oh, was he a guy?
This is how you know I don't know. This is how you know I don't know.
Oh, was he a guy? Oklahoma was a guy who was his name was Ed Ferrara, and he basically was the WCW spoof of Jim Ross. So he would look like Jim Ross. He would be on commentary and say Jim Ross lines, and somehow became a wrestler in that. And I believe he won a WCW Cruiserweight Championship. I just don't remember if that was at this time frame, if he won the Cruiserweight title or not. That was my first guess. I don't know if it's right or not. I'm waiting for either, I guess, you or Wade to let me know if I was right or not.
He says it is a wrong guess.
Okay. All right. Sometimes it's not always your first guess. So, October 1999.
I see the answer. This fucking loser.
Oh, yes. That's all the hint I needed was those words. The great, wonderful, mystical, magical guy who drew so much money, and then 8 months later broke away from the Filthy Animals and became a guy who his sidekick was a duck. Talking about Disco Inferno, I would imagine.
I believe that's the correct answer. If I'm looking at it correctly, they fought October 4th, 1999, for the Cruiserweight Championship match on Nitro. Did they win? I'm not watching the match. He says to Cody Rhodes' dismay, this is the one and only Disco Inferno. I get half credit for giving.
You did. All you had to do was say that this effing loser, and I immediately knew who that was. Literally 8 months later, when he was a part of the Filthy Animals with Hoovy and Mysterio and Conan and Tigress, he cost the Filthy Animals the tag belts and became, well, he was known at that time Disco, Disqo, and somehow aligned. Yeah, and then somehow aligned himself with a duck, and that was his thing was a duck, not a real duck, a plastic duck that he would beat people up with, and then became in a tag team with Alex Wright, known as the Boogie Knights.
The Boogie Knights.
WCW 2000 for you.
Hey, Glenn Gilberti, real quick, by the way. Hey, Glenn. I just got a couple words for you. All right, Glenn. All right, Glenn. Do I still have this sound on here? I don't. I'll just say it live. Fuck you.
Real question: who drew more, Disco Inferno or Jeff Jarrett with his broken guitars?
I
love you, Jeff. I'm just saying.
Who sold more merchandise? Glenn Gilberti, Disco Inferno, or the Shockmaster?
I don't even know if the Shockmaster had any merchandise. They may have sold the Stormtrooper glittery helmet. I don't know, but I know who's more famous, the Shockmaster. That's for sure.
Right. Speaking of merchandise, I gotta say, you can get Roman Reigns' Ula Fala on the WWE shop. And you can help the podcast while wearing the Ula Fala by buying it using our link in the description box below. I'll leave it to you, my friend, for the final words.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the point of the show where we end it for this week. Dynasty, of course, Sunday night, 8 o'clock Eastern. Please watch it. And watch whatever sports you can. MLB's in full swing. NHL's winding down. NBA's winding down. Masters are this weekend. So you did definitely have some good sports action before your wrestling kicks or fixes in on Sunday night. If you're a talent or if you're doing anything, make sure you pull yourself out of anything. If you're affiliated with any TNA partners, promotions, anything like that, make sure you pull yourself out first before TNA does, because you never know what can happen. But yeah, with that being said, tonight we were for sure very, very saucy, but I want all of you guys to enjoy the rest of your night, rest of your weekend, and stay saucy, friends.
We'll see y'all next week.
This is wrestling without the filter.